Got it.
Start counting. How many?
26.
Okay. Either you suck at math, or you're gonna die in 2 seconds. You suck at math.
All right, I get it. Look, most people's math does suck when it comes to analyzing things that are emotional, and the housing market is emotional. If you're out there looking for a house right now, there are more choices, but let's face it, prices have not really fallen. Rates have not really fallen in the big scheme of things, and payments are higher. Here's an article from Redfin talking about new listings, pending sales fall as home prices hit another all-time high. So I get it. So why do I say people's math suck? Is because I want to look at the numbers to see what are we shifting towards. Because I know how it's been over the last few years. It's been hard, especially if you've been in the mortgage business, because buyers have sat it out. There are a lot of buyers saying, when is the best time for me to jump in the market? Now, I'm going to say timing the market is almost impossible. It's never timing the market. It's time in the market. But let's look at some of these numbers. So Resi Club came out with an article about looking at 100 housing markets, asking one question: how many homeowners are actually underwater? In total, 4.2 of outstanding homeowner mortgages in the Austin, Texas metro area were underwater, but we want to look at the national average of 1%. So the share of outstanding homeowner mortgages with negative equity underwater at the end of April 2025 was 1%. To give you a comparison, 23% in September of 2009. And I was doing mortgages in the Great Recession, and I can tell you it was all short sales, people letting their houses go, adjustable rate mortgages coming due, and it was a very, very ugly time. On top of that, you got a lot of unemployment and people losing their job. They do a kind of map of everywhere in the U.S., or the top 100 markets that they're looking at, and no surprise, a lot of that is in Florida, and the biggest areas: Cape Coral at 7.8%, Lakeland, Florida, 4.4%. I'm just going to go through the Florida markets. Naples, 3.8%, Jacksonville, 2.9%, and Orlando did not make this particular list, but I looked and it was 1.9%. Again, is that relevant? Yeah, if you're one of the people going into foreclosure, it's definitely relevant. But as far as a national number of 23%, where we ended up during the Great Recession, we're not anywhere near any type of financial trouble. So I went to my favorite AI, ChatGPT, and I asked it, what is the, if we overlaid unemployment, inventory, and the unemployment rate to just see kind of where we were at. And it created this graph for me, and I drew this red line, kind of the 2006 peak, or kind of where all the negative, we were getting all the foreclosures and all the beginning of the Great Recession. So this is from 2007. You can see this giant increase in first. So let's look at inventory. Look how far we have fallen in inventory. And you can see, yeah, of course we've shot up, but not anywhere near the 23, 25, 30 months of inventory in 2007 and 8. When we look at foreclosures, everybody was going into foreclosure. It was a very, very rough time. Look at how many people, I mean, that is insane. Look how low we are now. Foreclosure is not really an issue. We look at unemployment. Again, a big increase during COVID. But in general, unemployment in the Fed's kind of target. Now, Zillow did their analysis of the market, looking at buyers or sellers and housing market, and Zillow's newest rating for 250 markets. And you want to remember this scale here, because I want to look at this for a second. So anything from 44 to 45 is neutral, right? As we go more towards a seller's market, that's going to be 55 and higher. 44 and under are a buyer's market. So this 44 to 55 is neutral. And they have this map of the US, and you can see there are some surprisingly very hot seller markets, but in general, it's pretty neutral, with obviously some buyer's markets. I always want to look at Central Florida, and we are at 45. So that puts us really right in the middle of the neutral zone there. 35 in Miami, so that is more of a buyer's market. And we have a lot of these 34, 35, 43. So pretty much most of Florida, either a buyer's market or a neutral market. Now, look, if you're in the market, I do want to acknowledge market is softer. There's no doubt. Sellers are lowering prices. We see sellers doing way more incentives. But by the numbers, when you look at the median price, it's not really coming down, which means if you're a seller, you're having to put your house on the market longer, you're having to compete for buyers, and you're having to lower the price to median price. You are not getting over what the market will bear because buyers will just move on to another property. So is it a market correction? No. Is it a very flat market with buyers at least in control in a lot of the markets here that I'm working in? Yes. So we shall see. If rates fall, could that change? For sure, because that is going to push more buyers in the market. But it also, if we get rates closer to 5.5%, I don't know if they would get that low. We would get a lot of inventory unleashed to people that got these record low rates. Talking about rates, unfortunately, rates kind of shot back up at the end of the week. So we get bouncing around in the 6.75 to 7% range. We shall see. I do think rates will be close to 6.5 by the end of the year. I predicted lower at the beginning, but I'm not so sure right now. But I do think rates are definitely not going up. They're going to trickle down. And when you look at the numbers and the health of the real estate market, we are probably at the bottom as far as transactions go, and we are going to climb out of this, and the market's going to feel completely different over the next year or so. We shall see. We're going to track all the data here. We'll pay attention to unemployment, inflation, housing inventory, foreclosures, all of it. As more information becomes available that moves the market, as always, I'm going to cover right here. Have a great day, great week. This is Rayce Robinson, your favorite Florida mortgage broker, and I'll talk to you soon.